We want to thank all of our patrons. Every little bit really helps, and we really appreciate your support.
Yeah, y'all are great.
Hello friends, we're here in the studio, Los Angeles, California. I've been thinking about making this video for a while. I was debating, didn't know if it was like something I needed to make or if anyone would care. And then recently an Instagram friend of mine, Craig, sent me a really nice message telling me about his sailing background and telling me how soon he hoped to be able to get like a motor yacht, and he would love to start documenting his adventures and start a YouTube channel. So that was kind of my tipping point to where I'm like, I should go ahead and make this video for anyone who is interested in how to start a YouTube channel, specifically about sailing or boating, but is maybe intimidated, doesn't think they could do it, or doesn't even know, where to start. So this video is going to talk about how I started, kind of my process, and what I find to be good practices across the board on various subjects related to filming yourself and your life, having a vlog for boating or sailing. Let's talk about the reasons you might want to start a sailing channel. The number one reason you should start a sailing channel is for yourself. To document your life on the water or your adventures or your travels for your friends and family, or for you in the future, so you can look back and be like, this was amazing, that was cool, I'm so glad I have this footage to recall the memory in such detail. Another good reason would be if you want to make how-to videos. The majority of things I've learned in my adult life, I've learned on YouTube tutorials. So if you have if you know how to do something and there's not a tutorial online, then that's an awesome way to give back to YouTube by making a tutorial to help people. So those are great reasons to start a YouTube channel. If you want to start a channel because you're hoping to get rich quick, and you think maybe you've seen other channels that had a lot of success and they have their lifestyles paid for by viewers, that's a long and hard road. And I think that you might find yourself very discouraged and not wanting to do it. So we're going to go ahead and continue talking about making a channel based on the idea that you just want to document your life and share it with people and share it with friends and family. So let's talk about the gear that we use, and I'll talk about the gear I've used from the beginning. I started my channel in 2015, and 90% of the videos I've made for YouTube were shot on an iPhone. It's that accessible. There are a lot of downfalls to shooting on an iPhone, but if this is all you have, and it could be any phone. I speak of an iPhone because that's what I've always had, but any of the other models of smartphones, the cameras nowadays are insane. A lot of them have like high sort of memory volume. Mine does not. I have a very, very minimal amount of memory in my phone. But like I said, 90% of the footage I've shot since 2015 have been on different iPhones. And I've only lost one overboard so far, knock on wood. So this is something that, most of us have in our pocket. And if you are going to shoot with an iPhone, and I've learned a lot of things I'm talking about through experience, I would highly suggest getting a camera rig. Now, the one that we currently use looks like this. It's called like a Scorpion or something. Yeah, Scorpion Junior. And you can screw your phone in right here. And the thing that this does, it helps with stability. You're still going to be shaky video if you're like walking or whatever, but there's no stabilizer in it, but in this one. But it helps you get good angles, and it keeps you from dropping your phone overboard maybe. I also have this really nice Rode mic, Rode, and I'm going to put a list of all of our gear down in the description. So this is a Rode mic. I think these are like $70. They're kind of expensive, but you don't necessarily need this, but it helps a lot, especially with a windsock. And it's still, I haven't found a way to eliminate all of the wind noise, but the original sort of camera rig I bought was like a cheap plastic one from Amazon that had a built-in mic and a cord, and I was like, you know, it took batteries, and I was like, that'll be great. It's terrible. Don't do it. You're better off just using the microphone in your camera, which is, like I said, a lot of the videos and a lot of video audio quality is terrible because of it, but because you can't really get a windsock that I know of for an iPhone, you get a lot of wind noise. A lot of other channels I'll see, they do like a lot of like music montage scenes, which I would imagine is because the audio is so bad, they just cut out all the audio and put music on it. We try to put more sounds of actual sailing in. So there are like, you know, sections of our videos that are just quiet sailing, and our viewers have commented that they really enjoy that. And I kind of want to keep people in the moment of being on the boat and what it's like. So, but the other thing I'll mention about these Rode mics is I bought this before I went to Holland because I was like, I want to have a good mic with a good windsock to kind of cut down on the noise. I want to step up the quality. And the cord it came with was really nice, fancy little red spiral cord, but that cord was designed for hooking up to a camcorder or like another type of more professional camera. And this one is specific for a telephone, or a smartphone rather. And it has little labels that says smartphone on this end because it has like the 3 bands right there, because with the smartphone input, there's like the different, it's not just stereo, it's like, you know. So the bummer was, see, and so this just has like a regular stereo plug on it. So I was like shooting with this thing for like days and watching the footage at night, and I'm like, it sounds terrible. I couldn't understand it, and it was because I had the wrong cord, so it was just defaulting to the mic on the phone. So it was, I carried this beautiful, expensive mic around for nothing. But so, you know, that's the other thing. Make sure you test all your gear before you go out, but we'll get into that later. So you can get a camera rig for very cheap. If you're going to get a mic, I would say just get a nice mic. Otherwise, you're going to make things harder on yourself because the mics in phones are pretty good. So an iPhone's an option. Originally, like my Bermuda Triangle one, I shot on like an iPhone 5, and maybe the images aren't the greatest, but it's all I had. It's all I had access to. Even still, we can't afford like the handheld camcorder we want, which I'll put on screen right now. We would love to buy this camera, and hopefully before we leave to go cruising, well, for sure before we leave to go cruising, we will have some sort of dedicated camera that isn't an iPhone. And so now let's get in. I want to talk a little bit about the downfalls of using an iPhone. The main one being limited space. The next one would be, if you lose this overboard, not only are you using your camera, but you're also losing your cell phone, which is a real drag that you might really need. So, I mean, the quality is always great, I feel, but it would be much better to have a dedicated camera. But if you're just starting out, you should start out just with your phone and see if you even like doing it, you know? It's a lot of work. It's hard to film and live at the same time, especially when you're doing projects. Like, I find that to be the most difficult. That's where we're filming this on a GoPro Hero 7, which is an amazing camera, and I love this camera. What I filmed on for years and years was this old Hero 3, which is a terrible camera, but it could do underwater footage, you know, and it was like, sometimes it worked. The old ones are really, really rough, but the new ones, and the Hero 7s are more expensive, but you can get the little GoPro, like, I think they're called Sessions, like the smaller ones that are very minimal. those are going to be great quality. The one thing you'll notice is the fisheye, the distortion, so you can see it in this shot where things are more distorted off to the sides. But this is, you know, the new GoPros are all waterproof without your dive case up to 30 feet. So you can stick it underwater, check out some dolphins, you can get it wet, not worry about it. And they also have image stabilization, so when we're hiking in trails and stuff, it's far less shaky and gnarly than like iPhone footage. So, you know, if you have like a GoPro or an action camera that's affordable within your budget and your phone, you can start filming. You don't even need a GoPro. You can start filming with your phone, and that's what I did for a long time. It's totally possible to have a channel with that. So, let's see what else we have. When you're ready to take your channel up a notch, you might want to get a drone. Now, if you watch our channel, and you have for a while, you know that this is our third drone, because I've lost 2 in the ocean. This is Drone Image Drone Face the third. And it's like a Frankenstein. It's like white body with a black battery, because our last drone, Mavic Pro, we lost in the ocean in April of this year on a yacht delivery, which is the next season coming up on the channel. But I still had all the, you know, the remote and all the extra batteries and everything from our old Mavic, and recently I found this white one on eBay for like $400. Their Mavics are really expensive. They're like $700, $800. Their quality is amazing, and I like them a lot more than the Phantom 3, which I had before. But you can buy really affordable small drones just to get shots of your boat. I've lost both of my drones trying to get shots of boats that I was on that were moving, so I don't know that we'll be doing that anytime soon. A lot of people have success with that, but I have not had success with that, obviously. But they are great if you're under anchor or hiking on land and you want to fly and get a shot of your boat at, you know, in an anchorage, or, you know, beautiful overviews of where you're at. They're incredible, and they add a lot to a channel. So, and again, there's many options that are affordable out there. Just check it out and see what's in your budget. But yeah, I can't advise flying them off of boats because I'm terrible at it, apparently. So that's kind of where we're at with the equipment. All of my editing I do in Adobe Premiere Pro. I was a professional editor for a long time, so I kind of had like a leg up on the whole situation from the beginning. But you can use anything from like, I can't remember the one for Apple. It's like, oh, iMovie, I think. I'm sure there's tons of free ones out there for PCs or Macs. And just start out simple, you know? Like, find a program that works, that you want to try out or works for you, and go on YouTube and watch a ton of tutorials. There's so many tutorials that will explain how to do different things in whatever software you are going to be using. I use an old like MacBook Pro. This is from 2012, and it has its limitations. It's very slow, but it's lasted me for a long time, and it works great for what I want to do. And I think the new like Adobe Suite and stuff is like a subscription series, so you have to like, I don't even think you get to download it anymore. It's like or you download it, but it's a weird subscription thing where you have to pay a monthly fee to use their software, which I think is bullshit. Maybe that's not the right one for certain people, but there's tons of video editing software options out there that you can use. We use lots of like little external drives. You can get like a terabyte, or this is a 2 terabyte drive, which is our current editing drive. I only use G Drive, the brand G Drive, and I have no affiliation with them. I'm not sponsored by them, but when I was editing professionally, we always had what are called G drives that were RAID drives. These aren't RAID drives, but they're very affordable, and they're great. You can just, you know, I keep multiples because soon you find out after years and years of making videos, you have a lot of digital files to store. And there are certain channels that recently, I think it's Sailing Nanji just had a problem where their hard drive crashed and they lost a bunch of footage that hadn't been edited yet. So that's always something to like keep in the back of your mind, that that's something that could happen, and it's a real bummer when it does. Let's talk about filming practices and inspirations and stuff like that. So the first ever sailing channel that I saw, or sailing show I saw, which a lot of us started at, was Distant Shores. The Shards pretty much invented this genre. They've been doing it for years on like Canadian PBS channel, and you used to be able to buy their DVDs. I like binge watched every season of their show. I think I bought it like on demand streaming through Vimeo or something years ago. And then the first like kind of YouTube based sailing channel that I really got into was Drake Paragon. And like he was like, I had already filmed a bunch of my travels. I spent a couple weeks in Iceland and I filmed all that and edited them into short things with no narratives. So I had already been doing that with my travels outside of sailing. So after Drake Paragon was like really the one that inspired me to be like, oh, this would be cool to start a sailing channel. And then the other one I really liked in the beginning was Life is Like Sailing. And actually, I think his name is Alfie. I wrote him early on in my channel asking him if he had any advice. He wrote me right back. And he was saying, you know, it's just like you just kind of put in the time with it. He said his suggestion was like, you know, people really like, I didn't even have my boat when I wrote him, but I was like shopping for a boat and I had filmed like other passages and stuff. And he was like, you know, people really like boat tours. So that's a good option. If you have a boat already, you can film yourself, you know, showing the different nooks and crannies of your boat. People like that. And, you know, then obviously like your adventure stuff and how-to stuff. Those are all like kind of your basic model, I think. Watch a bunch of sailing channels, see what you like about episodes, see what you don't like about episodes, and then apply all of that to your editing and filming. Now, as I mentioned before, it's very difficult, and I've been doing this for years. I still have a really hard time the first day or two when we go out sailing. I'm like, there's so much to do that I'm like not stopping to film stuff, or I'm like, oh, that doesn't matter, and no one cares about that. And then when it comes time to edit, like after everything's said and done, I'm like, oh man, I filmed almost nothing the first couple days, and it's like really kind of difficult to get it done. So if you can, you know, try to remember to film as much as possible, it's going to help you in the end. The other thing is there are only so many camera angles you can get on a boat. You are very limited as to how far away you can get. Other than with the drone, you're very limited to the shots you can get. So my advice to you is film yourself talking about what you're going to be doing, where you're going, or your partner talking about it, or whatever. And then make sure you also get a bunch of like B-roll footage of just the boat sailing or motoring, you know, the sunset, you know, some quiet moments where there's not a lot of motion, because there's so much motion on a boat. If you can get steady shots that are like 15 seconds, 20 seconds long, that's going to give you good segues between like your talking segments. That's kind of like, you know, and again, watch different people's episodes and see what editing, this is just how I go about it. So there might be things that you can pull from other channels. You're like, I like how they did this or this. And then you can put together your own style and, you know, make your own sort of vision for the channel. I think everyone suggests kind of the golden time period is like 14 to 16 minutes, because people's attention spans, or they're, you know, maybe people just don't have a lot of time to dedicate watching channel like episodes and stuff. Kind of the golden spot is like 14 to 16 minutes is a good length. I hardly ever do that. Most of our videos are 20 minutes or longer, which is probably a terrible idea. But I make videos that I want to watch, and I prefer a little bit longer videos. If a video is only 5 minutes long, it's like, unless it's like teaching me something I need to know right away and I want to know quickly, I don't really bother watching a bunch of short videos. I would rather watch a long video where I can see, you know, watch them living, doing their thing, see where they're going, their passage, their trials, their tribulations, their successes, all that stuff. So And again, this is all personal preference. You're going to find what works for you and what doesn't, and go from there. So, but, you know, the suggested amount of time is 14 to 16 minutes. And you'd be amazed at how much filming you're going to have to do to get a good 14 to 16 minutes of footage. The other thing is music, putting music on. There is a huge archive of copyright-free music on YouTube called, I think it's called Audio Library or something. If you Google search like copyright-free music YouTube, there's a huge thing. And you don't even have to, like, a lot of them are completely free, so you don't have to put credits or anything. You know, if you're like not good at, you're just learning, you don't know how to do credits or, you know, whatever. There's tons of people just putting up tons of music for free, so you can use it without even having to. Some of them have like a Commons copyright or whatever it's called, where they ask you to put their name and info to give them credit, and you should do that because your video will get flagged otherwise. You can use popular music. All my early videos had, like, you know, music from the 70s or whatever that I really liked, or even contemporary music that I enjoyed. And a lot of that you can use, but the thing to know is that if you get to a point to where you monetize your channel, which means that there are ads that play at the beginning, which you get like pennies off of. There's very little money to be made in monetized YouTube ads unless you have really high viewer numbers. But if you get to the point to where you monetize your channel, any of the videos with popular copywritten music, they will get that money from the ads. You will not. So if that's something that you're thinking about in the long term, which I wasn't concerned about it, and I'm still not concerned about my early videos having like cool music on it, because I enjoyed those videos with that music. And some of them, though, the copyrights mean that certain countries can't see your video. Like, I think I have a Bill Withers song on the Bermuda episode, and that can't be seen in a lot of countries because of the copyright laws. So keep that in mind when you're using popular music. And there's also information on, I can't remember, there's like a search form on YouTube where you can search a specific song and see if you're able to use it on your video before you go through the process of editing it, flattening it, and uploading it, and then you're like, oh man, I can't, it won't show up, or they'll flag it and pull your video down. So for instance, like any song from Radiohead cannot be shown or used. So if you put a Radiohead song on there and put it up, they just flag it and remove your video. It's a lot of work to film and edit, and then to find out that there's something like that wrong where, you know, you're gonna have to go through the whole process again. So now we've talked about all that. If you're filming projects or how to, like working on your boat, it's even more difficult because it makes whatever that repair or project is 4 times longer than it normally would be, which is really frustrating. And it's a labor of love. And there's a lot of projects I have coming up I'm not going to film because we have an immense project kind of bottleneck happening at the moment. And what I generally will do is, if there's already a really good tutorial of someone else showing you how to do this on YouTube, I just don't make a tutorial of it. So for instance, soon we're going to be installing solar on the boat, and I'm not going to film any of that because there are 100 videos of people installing solar on their boat. So there's no reason for me to take the time making it when there's already great examples for you guys to see how to do that process. It does, I think that's the hardest part, is like filming projects is very difficult. And then, you know, I don't even know how long it takes me to edit each episode. I'm actually going to time myself on some of the new ones on this next season coming up. But that doesn't even really take into account all the time you spend filming. So just be aware that, you know, to make a cohesive sort of nice flowing narrative, it takes some getting used to. So start out small, like film little aspects of it, edit it together, see what you like, and go from there. The other thing I want to really point out, and Camille will agree with me on this, file management. So when we're sailing under, like doing adventure sailing, I try, which obviously I failed recently, every night what you want to do or first thing in the morning, transfer all of your footage onto your hard drive. Like, make it a part of your morning or night. Just like before you go to bed, before you climb into the V-berth, transfer it from your GoPro, transfer from your iPhone if you're using an iPhone, your camcorder, your drone, every single thing you shot that day in an organized folder. Like I just say, like the most recent was like 4th of July trip, and then the date, or like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, in a very organized fashion. Drag everything into that folder, because that's going to help you on the editing end. When you go to edit, you have everything sequentially organized. It's not just in a massive folder and you're trying to figure out, especially if like Camille's filming on her phone and I'm filming on my phone, the numbering system is different on both phones. So when you go to edit, her videos might be at the very bottom, and I'll get a whole episode edited and then come across the bottom videos as I'm working my way down, and there's tons of good footage she shot that has a different numbering system, so then I have to go back and re-edit stuff. So try to be organized and do it every day. And the most important reason you want to do the file transfer every single day is because if you lose your phone overboard, if you lose your drone overboard, if you lose your GoPro overboard, you've lost all the footage. And empty out your cameras and stuff, because that's what happened with me and Camille. Is I have a 64 gigabyte card in the GoPro Hero 7, but I had never, and I was like, I have plenty of room, so I'd never really pulled a lot of stuff off of it. And then when she was diving on the prop, like a key time, we would have loved to had like every piece of footage we could, the card filled up right in that moment. So keep it empty, but keep everything transferred. And I have lost tons of footage in the past, and like, some of the episodes suffered for it. So just be like very strict about your file management. So every day or every evening, whatever, transfer everything, empty out, make sure you have tons of space on your whatever camera equipment you're using, so that you don't run into that situation. I'm not going to go into editing process. There's tons of videos that'll show you different editing techniques. The one thing I will say is learn how to fade in and out, and learn how to do titles. So if you start out with that, you just plug in your clips, you figure out what makes sense, and also pay attention to the audio volumes. Try to make sure that between clips, the audio volumes don't jump around erratically. We have a little logo that starts in the beginning and then goes into our video. So we have kind of a formula I have set up in our editing software that we kind of follow, because that's the way I like to do it. So you'll find what works for you. Let's see what else is on our list here. So we talked about all that stuff. I guess, the next thing on the list says upload schedule. And this is very important if you want your channel to grow. If you're just doing it for friends and family and you don't care about viewers or subscribers, then just upload when you want to upload or when you have footage or whatever. But the upload schedule, if you're looking to grow your channel, is very important. We upload our main video every Monday. And I do that for a couple reasons. Like, it's kind of ridiculous, because I found in the past where I'm sailing on the weekends, I don't have time to edit. So then I'm like crunching on Sunday night trying to get everything edited and outputted, and it takes a long time to render videos after you edit them. And then uploading them takes long if you have slow internet. So, but we do it on Mondays for a couple reasons. I worked in the art world, and I still do, for many years. And a lot of places in the art world are closed on Mondays, so I knew I had all day Monday to sort of finish editing and get it uploaded, And the other thing was, I wanted to give people, the other reason was I figured Monday morning, a lot of people are at work, and maybe that's when they're going to watch their selling channels. Like my little brother, Scott Tillery, who's probably watching this at work right now, but he's getting paid to watch me, so that's awesome, and I love you. So if you're watching this at work, you're winning right now. But like, I think Delos uploads on Friday nights, but pick a day of the week and kind of stick to it. If you can possibly upload once a week, you're going to be better off for it. I mean, maybe you don't have enough content, so you're going to have to do like once every 2 weeks, but try to keep a regular schedule. Currently, our schedule is insane. We're uploading 2 videos a week because we found that in the algorithm with YouTube, it gets us in front of a lot more viewers. So it's really helped with our subscription numbers. So the more you upload, the better off you are. And like I was talking to Sam Holmes, who's had he's had a lot of success with a lot of subscribers recently. I mean, the madman sailed to Hawaii on a 23-foot boat, so he deserves it for sure. But he was telling me he's been uploading tons of short clips, and then all of a sudden his numbers just exploded. So YouTube really looks at how much content you're contributing and how regular. If you're not very regular, you get bumped way down the algorithm. So if you're looking to grow your channel, make sure that you stay on a regular schedule. And which brings us to content. When I'd filmed my passage. The first series I did was a delivery I did from San Diego to San Francisco, and it's not great as far as like I was too shy to talk on camera. I did some voiceovers, I think, but I was too shy to talk on camera, and I wasn't comfortable like filming the other people on board, or they weren't comfortable. Like the Bermuda trip, the captain was a very sweet guy, but he had problems with like identity theft in his past, so he was very paranoid. He was like, you can film on board, but you can't interview me, you can't say my name, you can't, you know. He let me put some footage in of his face when we were like preparing the boat for a storm that was coming, but he wanted nothing to do with it. So that really limits what you can do. When you get your own boat, it opens up a much greater field. But when I did buy a Triteia, what I did, and I filmed even myself driving there, was I had a very clear plan as to what I was going to do. And what I did was filmed every aspect I could from the day I bought it up until the very first day I took it sailing. I didn't put up any videos. All I did was stack up content. So I filmed every single job, but I wanted to have kind of a bookended beginning and end, so that if I ran into some kind of issue where I couldn't get an engine or I couldn't get the boat going for 6 months, I didn't want to start putting up videos and then hit this wall and then have nothing to show. So I waited, I think it was 2 months between when I bought the boat and my first sail. And I didn't even start editing that footage until after I filmed myself on the first sail. And I'm like, okay, now I have a platform. So keep that in mind, or have a plan as to like content ideas stuff that you're gonna be able to film ahead of time, and think ahead of time so that you don't run into a situation where like, I have nothing to upload. And again, this all is based on you trying to grow your sailing channel, and not just on documenting your adventures for friends and family. Because, and I believe anyone that wants to should do that. I think it's great. So that's my practices anyway, as far as like filming. Right now we have an immense amount of footage that's going to be season 5, which is our Yacht Delivery Chronicles. The first sort of like a Yacht Delivery Chronicles is going to be like a kind of a side series that's me and Camille on any deliveries we do. And the first one is us delivering the 74-foot power yacht from Seattle to Los Angeles, along with our good friend Captain Dave Stovall. So we've been sitting on that footage since April and haven't edited it into a series yet. So that's coming up. So I think that about covers it. Obviously, the places you're going to upload is YouTube is the most common. You can also upload to, I think it's called Vimeo. I had a channel from when I had an art career before, which I made lots of films for that. So I have stuff for there, but I don't have any of our sailing stuff on there. I guess you can have, someone told me you can have like nudity can be on that channel that you don't have to censor, so it's not the same sort of censorship rules as YouTube, maybe because of I'm not sure why, but someone mentioned that to me. So some of our adventure episodes there is nudity on, and with that comes an immense amount of editing. So anytime, and we're just filming ourselves living, like this, we would be doing that whether the camera was on or off, but we want to document our lives kind of as they're actually taking place. So one of the most recent episodes where Camille was skinny dipping, it was hours and hours and hours of what's called rotoscoping, where I was doing like track mats that tracked the places I had to edit, and then blurring things out, and then going in frame by frame and adjusting it to make sure that our video wasn't going to get flagged and taken down for nudity. And the nudity laws on YouTube, you can find information about them. Like if it's not like a sexual nudity, if it's just like, you know, having fun swimming naked, which is perfectly fine, and fun and great, you know, then as long as it's not sexual, they won't delete it, but you do have to blur out certain body parts for whatever reason, because people are scared of seeing naked bodies, I guess. But if you do film that, I think YouTube has an editor that does that sort of thing where you can blur things out, but I've never gotten into that because I do everything in After Effects or in Adobe Premiere Pro. But it is very labor intensive to blur all that stuff out, so keep that in mind. So I know it's a crowded field. There's a lot of sailing channels out there, but if you want to document your life on your boat and for wonderful memories in the future, for your family, your friends who can't see you, or for people all over the world who would love to see where you are and what you're doing, there are people out there that want to see it. And they're stoked for you to share your adventures and your life and your experiences. So, you know, if that's something you want to do, get to it. You know, get it done. So there's a place for you to do it. You know, you can do it for free. You can upload to YouTube for free. It just takes your time. And, you know, you can use whatever you have at hand to film with. So if this is something you want to pursue, give it a shot. You know, check it out. Make some videos and see if you like it. And if you like it, then, you know, you just go from there. And there's tons of tutorials that will explain kind of every kind of mechanical aspect of how to make these videos. So I hope this gives you guys like the confidence to try and make your own videos and set up your own channel. It's a crowded field. There's a lot of sailing channels out there. So try not to compare yourself to other channels. Just do it because you want to do it, and you'll be happier for it. So thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Thanks to our patrons. You guys are awesome. And if you liked this video or you have any comments or whatever, hit us up in the comments down below. And again, I'll put a list of all the gear we use down in the description of the video. And so that's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Fucking assholes. We're in South Central Los Angeles, so it's very loud at the moment.
You hear the rooster?
Hear a rooster.